I am not. Yellow kickboard. Could I finish an Ironman? Alright, I gotta hang this out. Good morning, Trainiacs. Fixing up to have a really big swim day today, like looking for 8.5K in the pool here, and I don't know if it's gonna happen because we got a little bit of a crisis on our hands. Here, check this out. We got nothing but, yeah, short course with limited pool space. Think we might get kicked out? I am not. Yellow kickboard. 3 days out of the last 10. Okay, it's a better day. Well, that was a hell of a warm-up. All right, carbed, I'm loose. I've done 3,300 yards. It's time for the main set now. Another 6,000 we'll try. All right, chunk one, not even close to done. It's number 2. It felt like poo. And the synchro swimmers have descended upon the place. That's number 3. Now the lane is just for me. That's number 5. At least I'm still alive. One more. That was 6. And I feel like this. Everything hurts from about here up. Chest, lats, triceps, shoulders, neck, cheeks, brain. I gotta come back here again later today. All right, I gotta hang this out. Great googly muggly dudes. That swim was serious. And you know what? I got no meetings today. I don't have to be presentable whatsoever. Nobody's gonna see this face or these knickers. And I'm rolling like this. That's it. I'm not changing. It's a knickers and base layer kind of day. Nearly as comfortable as I thought it was gonna be. Oh, now it is. The old YouTube creator studio looking at your comments. Taren, is there a full Ironman in your future? Taren, have you ever done a full Ironman? Taren, when are you going to do a full Ironman? Taren, you should do the full Ironman in my town. Taren, is a full Ironman on tap for later this year? I need to answer that question about why I am not and have not. I am just lost in this beanbag chair here. I should answer this question about why I have not and for the foreseeable future will not be doing a full Ironman. It's for the simple reason that anytime I go into a race, I want to make sure that I can compete in it. I tend not to get my jollies out of doing bucket list things. However, swimming through the Red River is a complete bucket list thing and there is nothing racing about it. But as far as races go, I am always more motivated by the process of becoming faster and becoming my best self than I am the completion of the race. It's that progress, it's that process, it's that improvement that I see in times and in my own performance that motivates me to do races. So every single time that I've increased distances in triathlon, I always wanted to make sure that I was doing it on a really solid footing, knowing that when I went into that new distance, I could compete and I would be more, it's hard to say this in a half Ironman, but more in control of the distance of the race than it was of me. And the reason for this is that the first couple of seasons in triathlon, I did a sprint, I did an Olympic, I bounced back down to sprint, I did a kind of a screwy Olympic distance, and the races were bossing me around. I was basically just surviving the races, and I wasn't enjoying it very much because I didn't know what to expect going in. After a couple of seasons of that, I said, you know what? I am going to go right from the start of learning how to do triathlon in a sprint, and I'm not going to move up in distance until I've got a really good handle on that distance. So I did sprint for, I want to say, about 3 years. And being able to focus on that shorter distance race where nutrition wasn't such a big issue, endurance wasn't such a big issue, I was able to learn my body, I was able to learn how to train, I was able to learn how to manage injuries and bounce back from fatigue and things like that, because a lot of the different variables were taken out of the equation. And I was just able to focus on becoming a better athlete. After 3 years, when I did finally move up to Olympic, it was because I had built up a base of fitness, that my training for sprint had grown to the point that I really didn't have to change a lot for Olympic. I just kind of needed to make some small increases. And what happened is I went from a 107 sprint distance triathlon personal best to a basically exact double 214 Olympic distance personal best. Right away, first try out of the gate at the Olympic distance in 4 years. And then the very next year, I increased the distance to a half Ironman because the volume of training that I was doing at Olympic the year before really just needed to be increased a little bit and refined for that slightly slower pace of a half Ironman. And what happened when I stepped up to the half Ironman distance was a 4:46, really good time that I was very happy with, and I sure got knocked around in the last 10 kilometers of the run, but I never felt like the wheels fell off. So all this comes back down to, will I ever be doing an Ironman? Yes, I'm sure someday I will. However, a half Ironman distance you can do with a manageable amount of training in 15 to 20 hours a week in the peak weeks. But it's harder to manage that at Ironman distance because the volume needs to increase so much. And frankly, I don't think that I have time for that right now. Could I finish an Ironman? Yeah, I could finish one tomorrow. Guaranteed, no question. But could I compete in one? That would take a lot of training that I don't know if I have time for. So will I do an Ironman at some point? Yes, absolutely. It is so on my list of things to do. When is that gonna be? Can't really tell you. But when I decide that I'm gonna do it, 12,600 of you that religiously watch Triathlon Taren will be some of the first to know, after Kim and Mel and Coach Pat and the training group and my family. But then you're in. And that brings us to swim number 2 time on the day. Let's just get out of this beanbag gracefully. Oh my God. Great in theory, not in practice. You know what never feels bad? A nice cold, wet Speedo. Well, 3.5 months of filming in the pool against regulations, and it finally happened. I ended up getting shoved into the single lane that was still available for us during the synchronized swim meet, and I had to swim with a bunch of normals. They didn't like having a camera in their face. I don't blame them. So while I do the take this 10-second of make-believe swimming as a gift. Woo! Swim, tough swim, yeah, there we go, all right. Oddly enough, that actually felt really nice and good. Later, Trainiacs.